I was just saying there, Stephen, I'm glad I was muted there. Sometimes you say things that are not made for TV or YouTube. Hello and welcome into this Sunday's MBE podcast. I was about to say entertainment news. I've been drinking today and it's going to be apparent as we go on. My name's John. I'm the host for the stream today. Joining me to my left is Stephen John McLaughlin. I'm giving him his Sunday name. Stephen John Christopher McLaughlin. He's the co-host for the Stream Show podcast tonight. I'm John Christopher Peter Walsh, incidentally, so I'll give you my Sunday name. So Stephen's not the only sacrificial lamb here. Stephen, we're going to be discussing Star Wars. Kings of the Galaxy, fighting for you and I, fighting for me. That's Brian Lemond, who did a kind of piss-take song about Star Wars. Big Star Wars fan, obviously. Everyone is of a certain generation. Steve, we're talking about the future of Star Wars. But more specifically, two completely different projects that I think, my dog's just let off flatulence, that would literally reanimate a corpse, which is ironic because it smells like a corpse, which inhabit a completely different sphere. These two projects, came back to that little tangent about dog flatulence aside, in the minds of Star Wars fandom. Of course, Ahsoka Season 2 coming up.
Yeah.
Just try to get that flatulence out my nostrils. And Star Wars Episode 10, or X, if you're into Roman numerals. And we're going to discuss the yin and the yang, Stephen. Excitement levels for both. For me, I'm extremely excited for one. I'm excited. I wouldn't fucking be hyperbolic here and say I'm extremely excited. Not so excited for the other. We'll let you guess which one that is before we get into the actual discussion. Stephen, where are you at though? I'll pass it over to you first. Yeah. Just in general, where Star Wars stands as a franchise right now, and then I'll get your thoughts and perhaps your hopes and aspirations for Ahsoka Season 2, Stephen. Where you're at with Ahsoka Season 2?
John, I said after Andor, there's not going to be much left to bring me back to this franchise that's going to have great interest. But one of the things that is obviously Ahsoka Season 2, and the reason for that is because I invested my time in Season 1, and one of the sort of things that I really got from that, apart from obviously seeing the fantastic Rosario Dawson and Hayden Christensen, let's not forget, was obviously the character of Baylan Skoll, portrayed brilliantly by Ray Stevenson, who sadly is not longer with us. I know that he's been recast with obviously Rory McCann stepping into the fold, our very own Rory McCann. And John, it's just, I just want to see the continuation. Obviously, looking at I think Season 1 was good. It wasn't great Star Wars, but it was good. There was a lot to interest us there. Obviously, David Tennant playing one of the droids, wasn't he? Good cast. Mary Elizabeth Winstead in there as well, obviously playing Hera.
I was just
I think Baylan Skoll,
he was
the one that sort of really intrigued me the most, because he was the one with all this knowledge and history and the link between the Jedi and the Sith, and obviously this knowledge of Anakin Skywalker's downfall as well, which was very interesting, because there's not many people in this galaxy know the connection between Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader. Within the galaxy, we do, really, audience, we get that insight, but they don't. So John, it was just Shin as well, his sidekick.
Shin's great.
Another intriguing character. A lot of good characters in here. I mean, I could go on and talk about obviously the obvious ones. Obviously Mon Mothma popping up in brief scenes as well, played by Genevieve O'Reilly, and then we've obviously got
best fucking face routine in all of Star Wars. Yeah. That galaxy, I don't know what she's using in her face. That woman does not age.
No, I mean, I think Tony Daniels made an appearance as well, didn't he? C-3PO, I'm pretty sure. I think he was representing Leia, wasn't he, in one of the sequences as well? But there was so much to do. Obviously, I'm blanking on the name, John. Obviously, your man...
Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Yeah, but the actor, I can't remember.
Mickelson, Lars Mickelson.
Yeah. So I mean, all that. I mean, it's there's a lot up there with the series. So there's a lot of reasons to come back and watch this. Had I not seen season 1, I probably would not have bothered. But Ahsoka's such an intriguing character. For the last 2 decades, we've had her in animation, and Dave Filoni, it's his pet project, and he wants to see this through. But the most important thing is it's post Return of the Jedi stuff, which intrigues me the most. And we got some of that with obviously the Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett as well. But this is the one that's kind of carrying it forward more from a political side, if you like, rather than the sort of ground level stories, because you've got Grand Admiral Thrawn in there and what his intentions are. Is he the connecting link between the old Empire and the new, what's it called?
The First Order?
The First Order, yeah. Is he that link? Is he the one that sparks this sort of chain of reaction to
Lights the
rebuild?
spark.
Yeah.
Starts a fire or a fucking rebellion.
Somehow Thrawn has returned. So I don't know, John. It's more intriguing to me. There's a lot more meat in the bone. That's what I'm trying to say with this season. On the flip side of that, episode 10, I could not give a fucking shit.
Short discussion.
I saw this article popping up, and I know it keeps popping up. I think this time last year they were talking about it, and then again in I think April, May this year they were talking about it again. And every time I see it popping up,
I don't think it's going to happen.
I'm like, why are they even talking about this?
I genuinely don't think it's going to happen, Stephen.
I
really don't. I think it's got a touch of Ryan Johnson. Fucking Ryan Johnson, that's his name, isn't it? Ryan Johnsonitis. Where they announce it and it keeps popping up like a bad smell, like the trash compactor, getting the trash compactor flyby, or the garbage chute flyby. But it's like that smell. It just keeps appearing, and then eventually someone has to tap on Kathleen Kennedy's shoulder and say, Kathleen, there's a cold dead fucking corpse sitting in that room. Do you want to address this or what? Oh yeah, that's right. Ryan Johnson's trilogy, not happening. That'll be what will happen with episode 10. But we'll get into episode 10, Stephen, because I've got some things I want to say about that, as ever. But the Mandalorian and Grogu, Stephen, you discussed the post-Return of the Jedi era, bleeding into, obviously, the most expensive fan fiction ever created, the sequel trilogy, because it wasn't George that did it, so it doesn't count. I mean, I could go into fucking it was ChatGPT and create a Star Wars trilogy in like 17,000 fucking parts and put it all together. Mine's is no more or less Star Wars than what Disney put out. But anyway, that time period is the most interesting, Stephen, because it obviously is charting a timeline where all our heroes are still alive and kicking.
Yeah.
I.e. the ones we care about. Princess Leia, Luke Skywalker, in bought capitals. Get into your thick fucking skulls. He is Star Wars. You can kill him off, it doesn't matter. That's really the only character people truly give a shit about. They care about Han, and he's here as well in this timeline. They care about other characters, but it's really about Luke. That's why I'm fascinated by that timeline, Stephen, because he's still floating around. And he's gaining power.
Yeah.
And it's things like this, the Mandalorian and Grogu, he's already appeared in that. In some vein or another. Star Wars Starfight, I think, is between those two timelines as well.
5 years after.
Yeah.
The event. No, it's 5 years after the events of episode.
Is it 9? Yeah, well, that's not in that time.
Yeah.
It's post Return of the Jedi, but it's sadly also post Return of the Rise of Skywalker. I still don't understand that title. We'll get into that. Simon Kinberg, Steve. It's been that long since these things get announced. I forgot Simon Kinberg was even doing a Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah.
I mean, is he doing? Is he the one that's doing episode 10 to 12? There you go. I don't think that'll happen.
I think I don't know about the whole trilogy, John, but definitely that his name was bandied about for episode 10, and John, it's a strange one. It's Kinberg because
I'm
a
confused.
lot of
It
these,
says new trilogy, episode 10 to 12, then it says a new Ray movie. That's fucking episode 10 to 12.
yeah. I don't understand that.
People don't know what they're talking about.
No, it's. I mean, whether we like it or not, episode 9 was supposed to be the conclusion for, in terms of whether we accept it or not. It's fan fiction. It's out there. There's nothing we can really do about it. But it was supposed to be the closing chapter of the Skywalker saga, and we're going to move on. And this just highlights that they've got zero confidence in themselves in terms of new stories. Again, still mining off the original trilogy with the TV series, which it's been handled. It's been a bit of a mixed bag, if I'm being honest. But in terms of the films, I'm not interested in Star Wars films anymore. They killed that with the whole trilogy, and I don't think the Starfighter one and Ryan Gosling, John, we both like Ryan Gosling. I think he's a fantastic actor.
That's why I don't want it to do it.
I think when we were reporting on it on our news show, we were quite surprised and disappointed that he linked himself with this franchise because, without sounding too snobby about it, we were like, "You're fucking better than this." We're Star Wars fans, by the way.
Steve, and a deeper, more concerning note, it's a death knell for people who touch it. Taika Waititi get linked with it. He was meant to be doing a movie. His career's been off fucking cliff edge. Fucking cliff edge. Guy was picking up Academy Awards, putting out hit after hit. His name is merely linked with Star Wars, and he's just dropped off a cliff. He's like fucking Gandalf and Moria, facing out against the Balrog. The Balrog is Star Wars and Kathleen Kennedy. She is literally fucking cancer for creative people and filmmakers' careers. As soon as you're linked with her at all, you're done. So I'm concerned about Gosling, because I like the guy, really charismatic. I think he is almost like a cockroach in a nuclear apocalypse, so I don't think anything could damage Ryan's career. It's impossible. It's part of the furniture now in Hollywood. So I think he'll be all right. Stephen, that timeline is fascinating to me, though, because I think it's where they've done the best work outside of Rogue One and Andor. Like you says, to different degrees, The Mandalorian started off really well. Still felt like EastEnders sitcom in Star Wars. I was expecting a little more. Or fucking Peggy Mitchell. Or Phil Mitchell. Or some other character. Ian Beale to pop out and go, "All right, Ma. How is it? A lightsaber." Don't know why they've turned into some strange Antipodean person. But that aside, Steve, I think the main, it's been pretty good, the way they've explored the character. Obviously, Grogu is a bugbear for me. I just feel like he's baggage that the Mandalorian doesn't require. They've sold as a bit of a lemon, even though I enjoy it in the main, the Mandalorian. They sold it as a lone gunslinger.
I think he's
effectively in the Wild West of Star Wars, and then we've got this little fucking puppet Yoda wannabe tagging along.
I think Grogu's there now to hold the Mandalorian's hand in times of anxiety.
He's a comfort creature.
Yeah.
So as long as his hand is holding, I'm happy with that. But Stephen, people love Grogu, and fair play, more the power to them. I enjoyed him initially, but I just felt like it was time for him to go off with Luke, and then he came back again, and I'm like, fuck, he's back again.
Right away.
I know, right away. He's back again so quick. And I just feel like it's neutering the character. I feel the show's really went downhill since he's come back. It was interesting what they did. But having said that, Stephen, this movie is coming out. I don't know who it is that's directing it. I always thought it was James Mangold. I'm not sure if it's still him. Or is it Favreau?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but that is one I'm intrigued by. Because, look, we're committed to it. We've watched all the seasons and we're bonded with the character and all the other side players, so I want to see it through to its fitting conclusion. And Stephen, in a sense, I've built a nice little universe where Ahsoka almost connects into that as well. So you've got all these characters, Boba Fett and all of that kind of connecting in. And we're getting this sort of mini TV universe. And I think, Stephen, look, what you said, that is the future for Star Wars moving forward. High quality TV content. Doesn't all have to be Andor, dark, serious, human condition, character-driven stuff.
No.
You can do fun, multi-demographic things like The Mandalorian was going to say Book of Boba Fett. I don't think that appealed to any demographic. Having said that, I quite enjoyed parts of it. Never thought I'd see the Tusken Raiders, Sam people getting domesticated and getting to see what they were all about. That was intriguing. So even that shit show had some interesting elements. I think that's the future. TV.
Yeah,
and obviously Ahsoka's part of that.
Yeah.
And Ahsoka season 1 I really enjoyed. I know a lot of people like to shit on it. There's some sort of strange hatred for Rosario Dawson. I think it's maybe the fact she's a left-leaning, outspoken, political kind of figure. And fuck me, you can't have that. What you need to have on the internet is an ocean of right-wingers.
I think that's part of it, though, but I think the other part is that the original actress from obviously the animated series was not considered for the role in live action. I can see that a lot of people would have invested, obviously, their time in building that sort of connection with those voice actors, if you can do that.
Never going to.
But, I mean, there is so many talented voice actors out there. But we've seen it, obviously Sam Witwer is probably the one that stands out the most for me.
I don't know what that is, that's not English.
With the animated stuff, but I'm not particularly fussed about him not appearing in a live action Star Wars, because I think he does a good job there. I think in terms of Rosario Dawson, I think that's probably some of the backlash as well as came from that.
Stephen, I'm going to be honest, do you think she could play Ahsoka in a live action?
I don't know. I've never seen her act, John, so I can't really comment. In terms of obviously her delivery on the animated series, it was fantastic. It was, and there was that. And I think that's what brought the character to life. We can't obviously, ignore those, performances. But it's a very hard thing, I would imagine, for any actor to go into a voice booth and try to, bring this character to life that's never, you've got to take yourself back to obviously when the Clone Wars came out, and the character was first introduced. It's very important for that voice actor to bring that character to life and bond with the audience. And I think obviously that's what we got. But in terms of live action, I'm not sure. I don't know. She comes across very well in the Celebration, John. A very humble actor. It's obviously comes across as if they've struck gold by being part of the Star Wars family, and a lot of them are like that. But I think they did well. I think Rosario Dawson, John, for years, we've seen her in many things, TV series and film, and we knew that she'd be a good fit for it. And the one that plays the young Ahsoka as well, the actress, who also played the young Gamora, I'm hoping that she's going to return as well, because I thought some of that stuff was very interesting. Those flashbacks with Anakin. Yeah,
I presume it's Ariana Greenblatt. I'm going to assume, because there's only 3 actresses linked to the character. No, Stephen, look, the Ahsoka cat, listen, I can't speak for Ashley, I've just had her name up, Eckstein. I can't speak for her live action sort of prowess, but you tend to find people who are incredibly, obviously qualified and talented in voice acting, are really, really good at that, but they struggle mightily to make the jump over. And I'm looking at guys like Sam Witwer, who's fantastic. He's in great shape, pretty good looking guy. He could easily make the jump over to live action, but for whatever reason, unless I'm being, I don't know, incredibly ignorant to his career, I don't really recall the guy doing a huge amount of live action work. He's very much a voice actor, incredibly knowledgeable about Star Wars. I think he's voice acted just about every major character there is. Your man, I know you loved him back in the day. He was in a Sixpence None the Richer video. I think it was in a movie. Double barrel name. I can't remember him. Doesn't fucking matter. He's kind of close with that sort of Hollywood crew, Sam Witwer and whatnot. I think he's an example of doing live action and voice acting work, so it can happen. But for me, Stephen, I think Rosario was a perfect fit. Everyone always wanted to see her playing this character. She was fan cast for the longest time, and then she got cast as a character, and there was this sort of shitstorm. For me, it worked well, though. I really enjoyed season 1. Thought it was a very interesting show. It blended the live action of Rebels and Clone Wars brilliantly, and you had all these little Easter eggs. You had Filoni doing his thing with his character. Thrawn came in, one of my all-time favourite Star Wars villains. Read, I should say, the Timothy Zahn duology. just a phenomenal character. I actually preferred him in the duology, to be fair, because Luke was there. Was it fucking Ahsoka? It was Luke. And his absolute pomp and a crazed clone Jedi and all manner of mentalness. And Mara Jade was in there, a character I'd love to see at some point. You talk about powerful female characters and how the male audience don't want to see it. She's an example of why that's complete fucking bollocks. Because really well realised character, backstory, humanised. Initially tried to kill Luke and then ends up marrying him. So that's an example of a female character, very powerful, that seems to resonate with male audiences. I digress, Stephen, I'm fucking getting sidetracked here. Thrawn's in there, there's a whole host of stuff happening in there. Ezra Bridger, Sabine, just great acting. Obviously the Bale and Skull stuff. Shin, really interesting character. I've got the cast listing. Nirvana Sacknell, never heard of that actress prior to this. I just really enjoyed it, Stephen. I enjoyed the way they utilised the volume. It was really intelligently done. You're not get the slowest fucking chase scene in the history of TV with a 10-year-old Leia. It's just really well utilised.
One thing I know, you just talked about Bale and Skull there, and obviously the passing of Ray Stevenson has made them have to make some really tough choices. And you know, Star Wars, you know, we do kind of go hard on them when they don't be brave, and episode 10, I know we'll get into, is not a brave move. But in terms of recasting, this is a thing that's always been an issue with Star Wars, and certainly with characters that are well established. And I think, you know, not in the same level as a Mark Hamill, like, you know, being replaced, you know, obviously for someone else to come in and do Luke Skywalker. But this may pave the way, bringing Rory McCann in, for people to accept that, you know, it's okay to recast. It's more about the character. And Dave Filoni said that Bale and Skull is going to play a larger role in season 2. He's key to everything, more or less, from that side of things. And it would have been really a bad, terrible decision just to kill him off, you know, and replace him, because he had such a presence in that first season. And I'm pretty sure Rory McCann will be able to carry that mantle, John, going forward.
He's got a great purpose, Stephen. The character seems to just... There's a word I'm looking for and I can't think of it off the top of my head, but he seems to just... He's not burdened by this whole dark and light nonsense. He seems to have outgrown that concept. He's dabbled with the darkness. He's been a Jedi. He can see the faults and the sort of the positives of both sides, and he seems to be searching for this greater purpose. And to be fair to Filoni, it's something he's dabbled with across all the different mediums with Star Wars now. This greater purpose within the Force and this light and dark rising up to meet it. He's always done that brilliantly, even with Ahsoka, where she kind of becomes this tweener. She's not quite, she almost, again, I can't think of the word off the top of my head because it's fucking eluding me. The lights are burning my irises clearly and it's distracting me. But he's done a really great job of adding nuance and complex sort of themes into what is, in a sense, probably a child's friendly show. It's more aimed towards younger demographics. That's not to say adults can't get something from it. And he's continued that with the Bale and Skull character. And look, Ray Stevenson, sadly I didn't get a chance to really appreciate that guy whilst he was on the planet. We've seen him in Triple I, he was more of a 2D cardboard villain. But we got to see him really doing his thing in that first season, and he was one of the most fascinating things, Stephen. His relationship with Shin, this greater purpose going to this galaxy, he could sense something. I think it was the witches, but there was something else lingering. And it's clearly, he is super important moving forward. Even Ezra's kind of got a complex relationship with the Force and whatnot, so there's a lot going on in there.
You know, well, that's what I was going to say, you know, there is a lot going on, you know, but in the way they handled a lot of this stuff, it's all little mini stories. You know, in that first season, I thought they handled it really well. And as I've just gone back to, obviously, you know, the opening sort of speech from me, this is one of the reasons that I'm intrigued to see where they're going in season 2 with it, because there's so many things happening. You mentioned the witches, I actually forgot about them. And obviously the Ezra stuff as well, and you know, where Ahsoka and everyone else is at the moment in this part of the what is that? It's another sort of
Another galaxy, yeah. She's stuck with Sabine, and obviously Balin's on this other galaxy. I don't know if Shin's still with him.
It's
Ezra's
something that
went
Star
away.
Wars
He
never
stealed, he kind of hid on Grand Admiral Thrawn's ship there, getting back to the Star Wars galaxy. I think it was Wales, wasn't it? It was the space whales that took them there.
Space Whales,
Yeah. So they're kind of stuck just now. So they're going to have to find themselves and somehow make their way back. And that gives an opportunity for Thrawn to
credit as well, John.
create
In
havoc.
terms of obviously where Ahsoka sits in the timeline as well, and I think it was a wise thing to sort of run these series parallel in the same timeline, The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, and the Book of Boba Fett, because I think if it is leading to the film that we were just talking about, then all the more reason that this is the best way to do it, because there's a lot of characters that they have to bring in if they're going to be doing a trilogy of these films or whatever. It's interesting that you can have 3 different series that are all investing, and this is the importance of Star Wars web series.
Well,
it's all about the pacing, it's all about developing these characters, because they don't have enough characters that are original characters, John.
No.
Without having to mine back into the original trilogy and mine from that, this is the time to start expanding, and this is the best way to do it, I think, in the web series.
That's where Filoni did a great job, Stephen, and obviously George left it opened with not really looking into the Clone Wars all that deeply in the actual films. They just didn't have time. It was Anakin Skywalker and his fault at the dark side. That was the primary focus. So they went back and done the Clone Wars stuff, and Dave done a brilliant job with Ahsoka of establishing these characters and just depth to that time period. And obviously that's blended into this, and you're getting the opportunity to mine new characters and new environments, which is not something that's usually associated with Star Wars. It's always the same fucking planet, Tatooine. Again and again and again, the same characters, just Jakku as well, clearly. To be fair to George tried to go to new environments. He did go back to Tatooine, but it was kind of fucking necessary, wasn't it? Because he's telling the story of the Skywalkers, and that's where they hail from, so not really his fault. He did give us Felucia and Camino, all these mental places, so to be fair to him, I'm not having a dig, but it is a problem they've had moving forward. We'll get into that, Stephen, because we're talking about the future of Star Wars. But in terms of how this connects, this is why I'm excited for this TV show. For one, just the cast. I think they've nailed it. Mary Elizabeth Winstead, David Tennant, Rosario Dawson, Natasha Liu Bordizzo with Sabine. Also, Rory McCann, love that guy, loved him in Game of Thrones. He's been in a few other things. Big towering, 6 foot, fucking 5'6" Scottish guy with a beard, incredibly built, big shoulders. He will step into that role brilliantly, and in fact we've got Ivana Sackno talking about acting alongside him. I may read that quote. It's just the where it's all going, Stephen. They've built something, and again it just shows me why TV is the future for Star Wars, because there's just not enough interest in movies. The budgets are just crazy with inflation and whatnot. It's going to be a $300 million budget. They're going to have to make $1 billion just to break even. And there's not enough interest in Star Wars moving forward as a movie franchise, whereas with TV, obviously streaming services, there's always going to be eyeballs and the chance to capture the imagination. And they're doing it with this, blending it in with Boba Fett, potentially Luke coming in, Grogu, Mandalorian. I think this will all combine, Stephen, into this Grogu movie, Mandalorian movie. You'll have Thrawn coming in, and it'll be an ensemble experience with all these TV characters. Whether they stick the landing's another thing, but I would fucking hope they do. What was I going to say? Something. Yeah, that fucking article, that quote from Sackno, praising, I'll bring it up briefly, if I can. She's talking about starring alongside Rory. And Stephen, I'll mention what you says as well about that recast and opening the door for a recast, and I think that's really important. If you're going to stick in this timeline, there's so much scope. And I just don't know what it is with Star Wars and Lucasfilm. I don't know if it's a Kathleen Kennedy problem. She's so incredibly insecure that she has to shit on top of Luke Skywalker, but you've literally got a Hollywood calibre A-list actor who's got a fantastic relationship with Disney, Sebastian Stan, who looks the absolute fucking spit of Mark Hamill. He fits for the timeline. Literally his age matches up nearly perfectly. He's maybe a little bit older, but it matches. You could recast Luke Skywalker. Mark's already checked out. He says he's done with Star Wars. He's too old now. and create incredible stories with that character that could
Maybe
maybe
lessons as well.
redeem what we see in the sequel trilogy. I think it'd be very difficult. But if you get backstory, a journey with a guy that then adds context, like what George tried to do with the prequels, for what you see in the sequel trilogy, it may give you more of an understanding as to why he's so disenfranchised and checked out when he's older.
John, for that, you need a live action actor, not something that's created by computer-generated graphics. That's okay in small batches like they've already done, and it's still jarring. We saw it at the end of season 2 of The Mandalorian. We saw it in and out of the Book of Boba Fett as well. But for that character to be established and see that downfall, it has to be portrayed organically. It has to be, you know, if you want the emotion in there, you have to cast someone in that role. As much as we think that the technology is there now, it's still not real. There's still a disconnect.
Yeah.
There's still that disconnect. And as much as I enjoyed seeing the character of Luke Skywalker return in that season 2 finale of The Mandalorian, it was fantastic. For most of it, they hid him under the hood, you know, and it was only really the last maybe minute or so of that episode that we saw this very jarring CG Mark Hamill. And Mark's already said that he gives Sebastian Stan his blessing to take on the role as well. So I don't know how this is. It's difficult to execute.
They fucking hate
other
guy,
than a dislike of the character.
Yep.
It's the only thing I can think of, because everything else is there. It's all in place. Everyone is, ready. Why not?
Well, Stephen, once I've read this quote, we'll get into why not, because I'll tell you the reason why not. But this is obviously Saturn talking about McCann. We're in the middle of filming right now. I'm reporting to you from London. So I what is this? So I hate when they do that. Just fucking get to the broader thing. We don't need every single fucking word that came out of our mouth. So I get to see Rory nearly daily at the moment, and he's been amazing to work with. I will have his work speak for itself, but he's definitely a gift for us to have, and there couldn't have been anyone better to take on the role. So that's great, Stephen, that we are continuing on with that great character, because he is one of the more fascinating parts of the TV show. Obviously, the tragic passing of Ray means that we do have to recast, but I can't think of a better guy. He's a big towering actor, he's got charisma, he's got personality, he can act.
But the character as well, you can't just bin a character like that just because of obviously real life tragedy. Because as much as he was portrayed as the bad guy in this, he wasn't the overall bad guy. There was a lot of grey areas in this character, which is always... It must be good for an actor to play a role like that, that they've got some kind of vagueness about them, and you don't really know what they're thinking. They're unpredictable, and you don't know what way they're going to go. You know that they're supposedly be the villain in this thing, but there's much more to it. There's nothing two-dimensional about the character. And I'm so happy, Rory McCann's stepping in. We know he's capable of this, and it's great to see, obviously, the actress who's played side by side with Ray Stevenson, who would have built up a relationship with him over that first season as well. Say those things, it's given the blessing. This is going to be great. It's one of the reasons I'm coming back to watch this, is because all these actors are in place, and Rory McCann, I can't think of anyone else who could do a good a job as Ray Stevenson did.
No,
Rory.
The bold Rory. Sadly, I'll not be swearing Rory as much. Stephen, as to why they're not going to be recasting, look, with obviously Sebastian Stan moving forward and doing the whole backstory of Luke, what he was up to between Return of the Jedi and obviously fucking Force Awakens. I had to think it there. Dementia moment, but I almost wish I'd forgot it. Sadly, it came back to me. Shit. Bastard. Well, he wasn't in that, he was right at the end. It was a piss take putting him in. But that's classic JJ, an absolute shite bag who can't be handling the pressure of an iconic character, so he passes it over to the other guy, who of course completely drops it because he has to be edgy. Fucking blind.
Yeah.
I quite like Ryan, to be fair. He's a good director. So's JJ. I'm being harsh on him. I couldn't fucking date a character like Luke Skywalker. I'd be shitting myself as well. Let's not kid ourselves. But the reason they're not doing it, Stephen, is because they want to continue that story post Episode 9 with Ray. don't want to rehash it with a far more interesting character that the actual fan base love universally and actually want to see. No, they want to force feed us this fucking shit sandwich here, which is obviously episode 10, where the most uncharismatic, deeply uninteresting fucking character that's ever been shot out the arsehole of a creative in Hollywood. And that's why we're not getting it, Stephen. They want to do it via episode 10. They want to tell that story about how she can do it even better. Because, of course, Luke fails, doesn't he? So...
Yeah. But, John, this is one of the reasons that I'm talking Bale and Skull there, and, you know, all the grey areas in this character, and, you know, there's a method to his reasoning of the way he acts and the way he wants to do things, you know, and that's what makes the most interesting characters, that they believe that they're the good person, they're doing the right thing. Whereas most of the majority of people watching that are going, no, you're actually not doing the right thing. But in terms of the Rey character, there's nothing grey about it. There's nothing there that says, you know, something that there's no vulnerability to the character. There's no fear. There's no
jeopardy.
There's nothing that she can't do, you know, and that's not interesting as a viewer to watch a character like that, where there's no stakes, there's nothing that they, you know, that you know, for a lightsaber battle, you know, they're not going to even get touched, you know. It's imagine doing that for 3 films, another 3 films. Imagine that, you know.
It must be shit for Daisy as well. I mean,
I was going to say, John, we've got to make it clear that this isn't a go at Daisy Ridley, because I think both of us actually do like Daisy as a person, as an actor. But in terms of this character, there's just nothing likeable about the character. I tried to connect with the character in The Force Awakens to the point where I was like, I'm trying to feel sorry for this character, you know, but she's just coming across as a bit of a know-all. She's, you know, in terms of obviously that sort of interaction with Han Solo and bypassing the main compressor and all that, and all that's doing with the sort of OG characters in terms of Han in that sequence is making him look daft, you know, and that seems to be a common theme throughout that trilogy is doing that to the male-led characters, is making them look daft as possible, you know, and it's very condescending, and Rey's a sort of epitome of that kind of that agenda-driven. So getting another 3 films with this character again, I don't really see what they're doing. John, you talked about Simon Kinberg earlier. What capacity is this guy coming on? Because I know him more as a producer. From a lot of franchises, and he must be a good producer because he's produced a lot of stuff over the last 20, 30 years.
He's done a couple of shit shows as well, Stephen. He was involved in Dark Phoenix, which was fucking horrendous. I think he directed it. So.
That was what I was coming to. I can only see 3 films that he was, or 3 projects he was involved in as a director. One of them was an episode of The Twilight Zone, which rated 6.0 out of 10 on IMDb. X-Men Dark Phoenix rated 5.7 out of 10 on IMDb, and a film called The 355 from 2022, 5.6. All average products from this so-called director. So that's concerning.
He's definitely more of a producer, isn't he? I mean, you look back, I mean, even his producing career, a couple of good ones in there. Deadpool v and Wolverine was decent enough. Lift. Haunting in Venice, that's the whole fucking... What's he called again? What's Benoit Blanc, isn't it? It's the whole Agatha Christie reboot.
Yeah.
Death in the Nile. That was dead on arrival because of your man. The
I know
guy
he's
was going on about cannibalism and all of that. Forget his name.
Yeah, I mean, the sort of one that strikes me the most at the moment, the most current film it's obviously upcoming is The Running Man, which I think we both did the trailer reaction.
That did look really good. Yeah, it did.
Again, he's on as producer.
I mean, he's worked in some good stuff, Stephen. I mean, some of the X-Men movies were fucking brilliant 10, 15 years ago. Days of Future Past, First Class, they were great movies. Chappie, I really like Chappie. It's not rated highly on here, but I thought it was a really good film. I think it was a robot, South Africa. android thing. Obviously, The Martian was fantastic. Deadpool, fantastic. Logan, fucking unbelievable film. He has worked, he's dabbled as an executive producer on Rebels, so he's got links to Star Wars in the past. So, I mean, I'm not so worried about him staying. I'm just worried about, I mean, if he's tackling episode 10, 11 and 12, I'm just worried about where they go. The character of Rey is so uninteresting, so divisive for the fan base. You bring a movie like that out, it's fucking dead on arrival. You need to break $1 billion to make money, and if half your fan base immediately hate the character.
If they have to follow the trend of mirroring, what is it? The George Lucas say it's poetry.
Yeah.
What they have to do is in episode 1 to 3, Obi-Wan Kenobi is the mentor, if you like. And he dies in the first episode of the new trilogy, which would be the original trilogy. Luke Skywalker is the sort of hero in episode 4, 5, and 6, and the next time we see him, he's the mentor in the next trilogy. So if they're carrying it on poetry, Rey has to die in episode 10.
Good luck with that.
And they're not going to do that.
No.
We know they're not going to do that.
Doesn't even break a fucking fingernail, so now she's going to die.
Yeah.
And Stephen, like I says, it must be terrible for the actor, because you think of Mark and the journey he went on. It's a traditional, hero's journey. Real roadblocks, real adversity, jeopardy throughout his entire time on the screen. Nearly gets wiped out with stormtroopers at the start. He's in an unbelievable suicide mission to the Death Star. Somehow fucking blows it up because of his connection with Ben Kenobi and the Force. Loses his hand in Empire Strikes Back. He's nearly electrocuted to death in Return of the Jedi. His dad's a mass murderer. He's trying to bring him back to the good side. Guy's in a constant journey of adversity. He's seeing his face in the most evil, second most evil guy in the whole galaxy when he's going into that cave in Dagobah. The guy is constantly evolving, facing challenges, growing as a character through his failings. That's what humans are like. Humans fail every day. Nobody's perfect. You fail, you learn from it, you grow. There's been no growth, there's been no failings, nothing with the character. I don't want to see another 3 movies with Rey. If you're going to take a character from that franchise, that fan fiction trilogy, I want to see Finn. That's what I want to see moving forward.
If I hadn't seen Rise of Skywalker, I would say that, John, but he was so underutilised and thrown to the side in that film. It was atrocious. It was a terrible way they handled that actor and the character, that he became this puppy dog, pining for the Rey character the whole film. I lost count of the amount of times he actually shouted Rey. It was pathetic.
It was like Dan, wasn't it? It was like the Partridge.
Yeah.
Dan! 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 Need to watch Partridge again, it's been too long. Fucking hell. No, Stephen, I mean, he's the only interesting character though. He's a character at the actual adversity.
It's probably said too much now. I don't think he did.
Well, I mean, I think he was kind of starting to backtrack a bit. I think he may have had a contract slid under his eyes or something, or under his hands. I think he may have changed his mind. His career's not been going that great post-Star Wars that I think he can afford to write off a multi-million-dollar contract. So I think he may bite it and jump on.
She's been keeping herself busy since obviously 2019 when the Rise of Skywalker came out. And just looking at obviously our work since then, I'm just looking at there's a couple of 7.2s out of 10 in there.
She's very much a Chris Hemsworth outside of the MCU kind of actor.
Perfect description, yeah.
Master and Commander, I think it was a reboot or some shit like that he did. What was it? I don't even know. I need to search Chris Hemsworth. Tell you what, the Hulk Hogan movie's not happening now, is it? Fucking hell. What happened to that? Is that still coming?
I don't know, I've not heard a thing about that.
Don't see it. That'll not be happening now. What was it? Master and Commander? I just made that up. I fucking have, haven't I? Was he in the Master and Commander? Was he in that movie? Where did I get that from?
I know what you're talking about, I don't know.
In the Heart of the Sea it was. It was a fucking wannabe Master. That's actually a decent film, to be fair. I'm being harsh. Actually, Chris is probably better than Daisy. You look at his career. I'm being really harsh on Chris. But he's had a couple of shiters, but I mean, he's had some absolute fucking lemons. Let's get real here. But he's not over the piece. I don't think he's quite as bad as Daisy. Look nice woman and all that. Really good personality. She seems a decent person. But she's not an accomplished actor. It's like Gal Gadot, just not an accomplished actor. Really fortunate to be cast in Star Wars. Unfortunate it was fan fiction.
No.
God. Cast alongside the likes of Oscar Isaac, who is a fucking actor in every sense of the word. Adam Driver, who is an actor. John Boyega, who is an actor. I'm trying to think of other people who were in that. Benicio del Toro, actor, although his character was a fucking joke. Max von Sydow, one of the greats. So fortunate to be around those people, and they maybe covered up for some of the mistakes, much like Hemsworth, to be fair. I'm not saying he's the second coming of Daniel Day-Lewis, because he's not. He steps out of the Thor role and it's just... So, I don't know where we go. Decent person, not a phenomenal actor. Where do you even take the story? I mean, do you want to see a Jedi Academy with Rey leading this academy? I would much rather they just kibosh it and give us Luke Skywalker with Sebastian Stan, who is a proper actor, in a TV show, and then do it properly.
But I prefer that to be in between the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy, John. There has to be a breakaway from this whole Jedi and Sith thing. You know, and that was their opportunity to do that was in the sequel trilogy, and they kind of left it lingering on and not really. I don't think it resolved anything really, because we don't know where Rey's going to take. Obviously, the schooling, is it going to be Is it going to be Jedi? Is it going to be, you know? Because you mentioned that we were going to talk about the title of Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, what it actually means. As Skywalker became another thing, it's not just a surname, as it became the Force. Is this what we refer to as the Force now? It's not dark. It
became a symbol of hope.
Yeah,
a symbol of fucking.
Is that where we're taking it?
I hope not, because when I think of Skywalker, I think of a family. Well, don't know where the father is. Well, we do it. Sheaf, he was manipulating the Force, wasn't he? Randy, old bastard.
It's a funny one, John, because people, you know, when the whole connection between Rey and Palpatine, what? That doesn't work. It does work.
It does.
It actually does work.
It fucking does when you think about it, because he literally used the Force to create Anakin. So I mean, technically Skywalker's it's just the maternal side of it. The paternal side is technically Palpatine. So, but yeah, I mean... Stephen, the issue they've got, Star Wars moving forward, is the same issue Marvel have got just now. Post Thanos, they just can't beat. You can't beat the Emperor and Darth Vader. You simply can't. You've got two of the great cinematic villains.
They knew that before Episode 7.
I know. I don't know why
we knew that before Episode 7.
Fucking did it, Stephen. I'm not going to lie. I don't know why they did it. And the other problem Star Wars has got is that they just can't create interesting characters and interesting time periods and interesting stories that isn't set in Galactic Civil War, post-Galactic Civil War, Tatooine, or a planet that looks like Tatooine. They can't get away from it. There's no originality. So I don't see a future for Star Wars moving forward as a serious film franchise. I just don't see it. I think it's in its death rattle at the moment. The younger generations couldn't give less of a shit about it if they tried. I can't speak for them because I'm not a younger generation. I'm in the middle. I'm getting old as fuck. So
I mentioned, I don't know if it was on a news show, you know, people who took an interest out with Star Wars fans in the sequel trilogy were, I'll say it again, I don't care, Twilight fans. You know, they were there for the romance of Kylo and Rey. Reylo. You know, and when that fizzled out, the interest in Star Wars is lost. I know, because I know people that I've worked with are like that, you know, and they just aren't as invested, you know, as the original fan base. So it's interesting how this is. I think they're kidding themselves on to think that episode 10, 11, 12 you're going to have that same reaction, because the reason that the anticipation for 7, 8, and 9 was there was because of the original fan base. It wasn't because of a new fan base coming in.
And because
everyone's excited. We're looking at it in 2020 hindsight now and say it was a time. Anyone that says to me that episode 7 wasn't a bad idea is lying. We were all excited for it because we had Harry Fisher, Mark Hamill, and Harrison Ford back, and that's what really intrigued and excited us all.
But I do remember, Stephen, I do remember Kevin going to see it. He was up all fucking night because he was concerned they were going to make a complete arse of it.
Yeah.
To be fair, Force Awakens wasn't horrendous, but in the end he was right. They made a complete arse of it.
The question, John, is why were we there? We were there to see our heroes again, weren't we?
Yeah.
And you don't have that. You don't have that in episode 10. There's nothing there to pull the original fanbase in.
Get Rose Tico.
Yeah.
And they say you're a hero, save us. I'm not gonna stand there. Well, actually, you're going to be lumbered with a bed.
I'm trying to remember how line. I just want to smash I can't remember. Put my fist through there. I can't remember. It's terrible. Bad writing.
And of course, she saved Finn from. Get something in my jacket. Saved Finn from an incredible sacrifice. Again, that just went.
See if they let Finn do that, it would have saved that film, because it would have been impactful at least.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
That was the Last Jedi, wasn't it?
Yeah. On Crate.
Yeah. Because that would have been that would have been like poetry again, but also it didn't happen in the original either, but that's exactly what Harrison Ford wanted. And your man who was involved in producing, I think they were all at George to try and kill off Han, because they gave a real darkness and jeopardy, if I can speak, to the story. And it would have been the same with Finn. And of course he was he was a fucking wet wipe in The Rise of Skywalker anyway, so there was no point to the character just running around chasing after Rey, lumbered with these space horses. It's fucking dreadful. Awful. Absolute pish.
They were actually riding on a fucking
Star Destroyer.
In space.
Fucking Star Destroyer.
In space.
Fucking space. Horses. Oh, it's just terrible. Who thought this up? Who came up with this as an idea? It should be fucking taken out the back and shot up against the wall.
I felt like I was taken out the back of that cinema and shot, because and I know you felt the same, because we walked out the Hamilton view.
It's freezing.
And we just, John, we stood for about 5 minutes and we didn't even talk to each other.
I don't fucking watched that film since that day. I've never watched it again.
What have I just watched?
I'll never watch it again. It was horrendous. And that's why the future of Star Wars in terms of this timeline and continuing it ain't going to work. You said there was excitement for Star Wars Episode 7. That was built on 2, 3, 4 generations growing up with the originals and the prequels to an extent. And the prequels weren't that great, to be fair, but they weren't horrendously bad. There was redeeming parts, and at least the story flowed into something that meant something, i.e. the demise of Anakin. But it was the last Star Wars movie you've seen. The Revenge of the Sith was a pretty fucking good film. I mean, it still stands up. It's a pretty good film. There's elements of it that are a bit cheesy, but it still stands up. So they ended in a good one. They've not ended in a good one. They've ended in an absolute car crash. It's a fucking horror show, The Rise of Skywalker. So the last thought in anyone's mind of a Star Wars movie is that. That's scaring people from the theatres. They're not going to come in and watch it. I don't even think Ryan Gosling can save it.
No.
So.
No.
And I'm not convinced that'll even come out anyway, because everything they announce disappears into a black hole. It's at the singularity before it even gets into pre-production. So that's Kathleen Kennedy for you folks. As a Celtic fan, she is the Hollywood equivalent of our board. Completely incompetent, fucking useless, chocolate fireguard levels of uselessness. So, yeah. Compare excitement level, Stephen, we've got in the notes here. Ahsoka season 2 versus 10, it's not even, there's no comparison. Ahsoka season 2, Filoni, Favreau, they've built a universe, mini-universe, TV. There's been ups and downs, but in the main, they've went in one sort of exponential journey, and it's been mostly good, and they're building with a great villain in there with Thrawn. There's other interesting villains as well popping up.
All these witches, John, they intrigue me.
What's the other one called? Morgan Elspeth. That's the sort of, she's one of the witches as well. She came, she took them to that other galaxy. She was,
the actress was Danny Inosanto's daughter, I think, who...
Diana Lee.
Yeah, she was a good friend of Bruce Lee. Yeah. He was a good friend of Bruce Lee, Danny. Dan Inosanto, yeah. So
that's another great minor villain.
Yeah.
And that's before you even get into the whole sort of Mandalorian stuff and the all bounded into a crescendo. So for me, it's not even a comparison. Ahsoka season 2 and what they're building over there is levels above what they did with the sequel trilogy. Levels above. That's the future for Star Wars TV content. They have to earn the right.
Yeah.
They need to show that they've got some sort of creative freshness in the medium of TV, build new worlds, interesting characters, then you can scale it up to movies. Stephen, there's not enough to go on. They've not got 50, I keep saying it, they've not got nearly a century's worth of storytelling like the comic book movies have got. And even then, the comic book movies, DC's not knocking people off their feet. Marvel have been shite for years now. I mean, it's crazy to think that that's great.
It doesn't have to be big, bombastic, blockbuster films. They have got the freedom to do what they want. They could make a 50 million independent Star Wars film at this stage because they've not really got much to lose. It might actually reinvent the whole franchise by taking that chance, but they're not brave enough to do anything inventive. And as you said, they've not got the material of Marvel and DC have. So they're mining from the original stuff and they're working their way out, but it's a slow process and it's very safe, and at times it can be very boring as well. This is why the reason that I'm more interested in the web series, because you can establish these characters, a bigger range of characters as well, because you've got the time to do it in a 12 episode season or whatever it may be, and establish those worlds, establish those characters, and you make that bond with them. You can't do that in film anymore.
No.
People don't have the attention or the patience for that anymore, for these kind of franchises. So,
see, I'd just like to see somebody of Tony Gilroy's character coming in as the head of Lucasfilm, or even just creating a secondary role where he deals with Star Wars, not even the whole of Lucasfilm, because I know that encompasses all different kind of stories, like Indiana Jones, that's another dead franchise.
Yeah,
I'd like to see somebody like that coming in who's disconnected. He's not a fan, although many would argue Kathleen's not a fan either. And obviously he can then sub-compartmentalize the creative side, and he can just come in and say, look, that's fucking horrendous. That is terrible writing. Just like he did with Rogue One. What the fuck are you talking about, Gareth? That everybody lives happily ever after. That ain't realistic, mate. Where were they in A New Hope? Are you telling? Are you actually smoking? Are you snorting glue, son? He came in and saved it. He has to do that with Star Wars. We need somebody like that to come in, and then we can get really interesting projects coming up like Andor, where it's boots in the ground, more human condition, smaller scale, no Jedis or anything like that. Jedi, there's no S. You can really do something unique with the franchise. You can create, and Stephen Andor was revolutionary. You've got really high calibre actors in there, no harm to Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill. I mean, they Alec Guinness and to an extent Harrison, although Harrison was at the beginning of his journey with Star Wars as an actor. Guys like Mads Mikkelsen, not Mads Mikkelsen, fucking the other one. We've got Mikkelsen in here, it's just not Mads. Lars Mikkelsen, I'm looking at Lars. Fucking, blanking on his name, Galen Russell. Not fucking Galen, that's fucking Mads Mikkelsen. The other fucking one, look, it was 60 fucking million of them. Skarsgård, Stellan Skarsgård. Getting all my Scandinavian actors mixed up tonight. Stellan Skarsgård, you've got a genuine fucking world-class actor appearing in a Star Wars project, giving you incredible performances. That's what I want to see for Star Wars moving forward. I understand I'm in my lonesome though, alongside a small group of people like yourself, Stephen. Most people want just vacuous, multi-demographic, brain-dead shite shuffled into them like the spaghetti scene in Magical Mystery Tour. A fever dream from John Lennon, probably on acid when he fucking brought it up in his mind. That's what people want. They don't want high calibre. I don't know, different storytelling for Star Wars. Gibbering absolute shite here though, Steve. Needless to say, I think Star Wars is a dead franchise. I said this before. I think the future's TV. They have to earn their rights to be taken serious as a proper movie sort of institution again. And they need a complete restructuring of the entire Lucasfilm organisation, need a new president, just some injection of creative ingenuity and genius in there to give us interesting new stories, new characters, new environments. That's what we need. What's your thoughts though? Unless, Stephen, you've got anything else to say before I round this up?
You know, this whole topic, especially the episode 9 stuff, episode 10 stuff's exhausting. It is, but you have to cover it because we're fans of Star Wars, and this channel's all about entertainment. And it's a good platform to share your views, and hopefully we'll get some in the comment section. You know, as well, John, people's views on Ahsoka season 2. They're looking forward to it, and obviously, what's your thoughts on episode 10? You know, as well. So. Yeah,
Can we bring back Holdo?
Sorry?
Can we bring back Holdo? We brought back Palpatine. Can we bring back Holdo?
Holdo. The Holdo manoeuvre.
Yeah, better with a fucking Holdo.
And she can go like that.
Better with a Reebok Holdo with a purple logo instead of that rinse. That was a terrible joke. That's why I'm not a stand-up comedian. I can be quite good when I'm spontaneous and off the cuff with little sarcastic and witty remarks, but when I have time to think about it, nah, forget about it. Forget about it. Try to think of a football example here. Of what guys in my that plays for Celtic just now up front, when he's kind of not thinking, he just has to do something that goes in. The minute he has to use his brain, forget about it. It's fucking hitting Mars or Jupiter. Forget about it. So that's the equivalent of me when it comes to comedy. Can be quite good when I'm spontaneous. I'm ripping the arse out of this now. I'm just going to round it up. What's your thoughts? No one gives a shit. No one gives a fucking shit about me talking about some pish joke about a Holdo. Move on. What is your thoughts on Ahsoka Season 2? Thoughts on Episode 10, the future of Star Wars? Are you excited for either? Share them down below, much like Steve's already said. Like the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to get notifications straight to your eyes on YouTube. Follow button, notifications button over on Twitch to see us live over there doing streaming on a different platform. Whatever floats your boat, really. And all that's left to be said, really, is thank you once again for watching us. And until next time, bye-bye.